Hey, how you doing there, young fella? Welcome to episode 31. We didn't throw the whole thing in the can. We just took a couple of days off. Wanted to get this out on Wednesday, but just shit got real. So anyway, today I wanted to talk about not necessarily thrusting weapons, but just trying something different for the sake of getting better at it. Now, we're going with thrusting weapons because I have typically struggled against players who use thrusting weapons. So I think one of the best ways to get better against something is to go ahead and use it yourself. And that way you can gain a better appreciation and understanding for the range, the speed, the timings, right? So that's really the only reason I would use something that I wouldn't normally use like this. Although we did have a pretty good recommendation not long ago to use the Partisan, which you will see we are using right now. Yeah, I think we can become better players by using the things that we have had used against us, and those things used against us were successful. Definitely, I think there's a case to be made for that, and the reason I ever had that thought is, and I'll keep this brief here, but long time ago, when I must have been on like my second or third playthrough of Dark Souls back on the 360, I remember, and I didn't know anything about the game except what I had to look up because I got stuck in my first playthrough. And I was not into PvP at that time. I did not ever do any PvP. I got invaded a couple of times, and you can imagine how that went. But this was one of those very early in my Dark Souls career invasions that just really stuck with me, and I've never forgotten it. So what happened was, nice parry. What happened was, I'm in the depths, and this guy comes in, and he just took me to town with his Y-hander. He stun-locked me, and I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and that was the end of that shit. And I don't remember anything about the guy's build. I don't know what he was wearing. I don't know if he was a giant dad or what. Couldn't tell you. All I remember, it was this Y-hander, and it was very ugly. And it was at that moment I decided I can't have people come in and do this. And this was kind of cute here, like the guy just run up and stop, and then I kind of get behind him and stop, and then we have a little goofy moment of cute levity for a second, and then we go right back into it. I love invading in this game for shit like that. Anyway, I had to kind of make a commitment to myself. Like, I can't have people come in and do this shit. Nice parry again. So I'm going to start using this Y-hander, and I think that's what ultimately got me into Giant Dad anyway. So I really have to thank that guy for my whole channel and everything, that guy who invaded, because nice parry again, dude. If that had never happened, if I'd not been invaded that day, maybe I never would have gotten into PvP. Probably would have anyway. It would have just been somebody else. But it might not have been this Y-hander that I decided I was going to have to learn. It might have been something completely different. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of utility in using something that you're not particularly great against, because that's definitely one way that you're going to get better. And have a look at this Sunbro. This is the same guy that we just fought just a minute ago in the last clip, who got all these parries. And, you know, it's one thing if... Oh yeah, take a look at this. It's a doozy. So we'll take a look at that again and slow it down a little bit. Is that nuts? Is that insane? I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. Which is kind of hard to say because there's so many things I must have seen that I don't remember anymore, but I think I'd remember something like that. So like I tried to get around Sunny D to get a backstab on him. This was just ugly everywhere, every way you slice it. But I tried to get him around him to do a backstab on him, and then I think must have at the exact same time or slightly after, the host got a backstab on me, and it looked like, I don't even know what that looked like. It was just totally nuts. Which, yeah, that brings me to my next point, which is, let's say you're going to go ahead and take my advice of, well, you know, there is this weapon that I've struggled against, which may it be a great sword, a ultra great sword, whatever the hell it is, a spear, sure. And I'm gonna try that for a while. I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna try to do some weapon mastery tonight. Well, that's great, but you'll notice I switched off to the Chaos Halberd, which does do thrust attacks, of course, as we know. The R1s are exclusive thrust attacks, but I got tightened up by these guys before. I can't let them do that again. So if I got to bring out the big guns, or if I've got to switch to something that I think I can actually take these guys apart with, I'm going to absolutely do that. We can temporarily suspend our weapon studies just for the sake of getting shit done and keeping it real, right? Whatever that means. So and the other part of it too, guys, I know we've talked about this before, but it's not going to be fun for you. Let's say you go up against people with a weapon class you're not used to, and they just tear into you and tear you apart. That's not going to be fun for that long, believe me. You're going to get real tired of losing, so by all means, this is supposed to be fun, guys. We are invading to have fun, to learn some PvP stuff if we want to do that, but we're trying to have some interactions with players that, you know, we're not going for like PvP, you know, mega sweat, super whatever, OP build. We're not going for trophies in the arena. We're not trying to be number one. We're just trying to have some fun, right? And you gotta regroup and come up with something else if you want to have fun, if you keep losing and losing all over again. So it's good to practice, but know when to take a break. This guy, we looked everywhere for him, and I absolutely just couldn't find him. And we are back to the lightning spear, of course, being that we're probably going to end up in a 1v1 here. I don't have a problem with that, but like in a gank situation like we're talking before, a thrust weapon, I'm going to say for me, is not really what I want. So that halberd worked out for us, but we did not really face a gank situation with that halberd. We faced the gank situation with a lightning spear, which doesn't do very good damage as it's unupgraded. And I would have been much better to switch off to something else. Especially a gank situation where you got two guys coming at you. Maybe you want something that can hit both guys at the same time. A thrusting weapon typically will not do that. If it is thrusting, we noticed that the partisan has a sweep or like a swing type move that will tend to hit multiple targets, I would think. But for something like that, I would much rather use a one-handed greatsword, something with the windshield wiper type move. Oh yeah. Okay, this is our last clip, so that's enough about using weapons you're not great at. Give it a try if there's something you're struggling against. Yeah, did you like that plunge attack? We damaged him, but we ended up on a different level than him, so that's kind of weird. A couple of weird things happening tonight. This was the last thing I wanted to talk about. It's a technique that you might be aware of, and if not, I'll be happy to tell you all about it. It's called turn and burn. So I'm going to pretend that I don't see this guy, and I'm just trying to find him. He's going to come up behind us, balls to the wall running, so that as soon as we turn around and give it to him, he's probably got... He's got no time to react, but he's got no stamina either. Anyway, turn and burn is something you can try out, and it will work for you or your money back. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you fine ass.